the making a real difference by looking at these passions and these patterns and thresholds that you make a difference in the quality of life for the patient, determine better outcomes for the patient, and reduce the wait time before they're seen next by the clinical care team to make a difference in adjusting the treatment going forward. So really, this looking at patterns, looking at data historically and currently, AI can make a big difference in sort of how patients are being treated and leading to better outcomes in the long run.
I think something you mentioned is like having more of a proactive approach to managing the health
Right.
of the patient,
Right.
or
Right.
either the diagnosis or the prognosis
Yes.
for that
Yes.
patient.
The important part is that, proactive approach, but also determining that intervention only when needed, not otherwise, right? Because otherwise, I mean, the clinicians are just bombarded. They are overworked, too much stress. There's a real challenge we have in the physician community that physicians are burnt out, right? So giving them the tools to say that you only need to intervene now. They don't have to look at every single patient symptom coming in, but of course the care team will look at that, but elevating, sort of saying, look at this now, look at this, later, and so on and so forth. So really making sure that the patterns are making sense and determining the level and the timeliness of the intervention. I think that's really the key here.
So it's almost like it's for everyone. It's not just the patient, and it's every person in that sort of healthcare workflow, if you will,
Yes.
that is
Yes.
impacted by the advancement of data and tech in this situation. And I was just reading today that there is, I think it was some hospital or something, I don't remember the name, but with the use of AI, they were reduced like burnout of clinicians by 70% just because AI was taking notes. This is very mundane. We talk about us taking notes with AI, but this was just clinicians just because they were there taking notes during either patient conversations or something like that.
No, but believe it or not, this is one of the most leading innovation with AI in healthcare. So sometimes, we always think of healthcare and AI as something that will help with better clinical outcomes and better clinical efficiencies. But when you talk about the physician burnout and stress, AI is helping tremendously on the operational efficiencies. So previously, if you remember, if you go to the doctor's office, half the time the doctor is busy charting everything. So everything you say, they have to record, because the next time you come in, they need to know what happened last time. And then previously they would write it down. Now they have to type it. But now you have what you call ambient listening, so voice recognition, and it's not just just recording what you say. So they listen to the patient and they translate it beautifully. The AI translates it beautifully, mapping it to patients existing clinical history, what symptoms they have, and then also sort of holistically saying what goes into the patient notes, what are the patient results, and the physician really doesn't have to click 200 times to say this is an allergy symptom, mark this as a side effect, mark this as a side effect of drug A combining with drug B. So they of course have to make sure that the AI is doing the right thing. So they just have to look at it and say, just change this, or this is all good, and approve it. So it makes a tremendous difference in allowing the physician to focus on the patient rather than focusing on the tools. And that's a big deal.
That's true. And I think it makes the experience better, because who here has not felt like, the doctor doesn't really like listen to me or support me, or like, is not really, I don't know, like they just think I'm a 15 minutes and then I'm done or something like that. So it does improve, I guess, the doctor patient relationship.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Something you said earlier, which also brings me to this point that you were just making, is that usually the healthcare industry is a little bit slow in adopting technology. And there are very much valid reasons for it. That being said, how have doctors and patients both adopted this technology? So, for example, the ambient listening you were sharing, how have like doctors or hospitals, physician offices taken on this technology itself, and how have you seen, like, what are the challenges in this AI adoption itself?
Right. So I think this is the most important question, Priyanka, that you've asked, right? I think the technology is certainly improving. We see that in every day, in every facet of our life. We are using it on our phones, at our fingertips to do so many things, right? When it comes to healthcare, it is ultimately a mission critical process.